Okay, Alex, I have a big question for you today to start us off.
All right, I'm ready. What is it?
What is the single best piece of advice you've ever received?
Wow, the single best piece? That's tough. We get so much advice in our lives from parents, teachers, friends, even from movies.
Exactly, but sometimes one sentence or one idea just sticks with you. It changes how you see things, or maybe it even changes your life.
I know what you mean. Okay, I think I have one. It's about not being afraid to fail. But what about you? You asked first.
Mine is completely different. It's about listening more than you speak. So, one piece of advice is about action, and the other is about being quiet.
Interesting. See, this is what today's episode of Language Flow is all about. We're going to share advice about happiness, confidence, success, and more.
And as you listen, we want you to think about this too. What is the best advice you've ever received? Let's start with advice from the first people who teach us anything, our parents.
Yes, parents. They are the original advice givers, aren't they?
Definitely. My mom always used to say, you can't control what other people do, but you can control how you react.
Oh, that's a classic. And it's so true. It's easy to get angry or upset because of someone else, but that advice gives you the power back.
It really does. When I was younger, I didn't understand it. I thought, but they were mean to me first. But now I see the wisdom in it. It's about emotional control. How about your parents?
My dad was a man of few words, but he always said if you start something, finish it. It wasn't just about big projects. It was about washing the dishes, reading a book, anything.
That's about discipline and commitment. I like that.
Yeah, it taught me not to give up when things get a little difficult, and it's so satisfying to finish what you start. It builds confidence.
That makes sense. Okay, what about teachers? Did you ever get a piece of advice from a teacher that you still remember?
Yes, absolutely. My high school English teacher, Mrs. Davis, I was so nervous about speaking in front of the class. My hands would shake, my voice would get quiet.
Public speaking is a common fear.
It is. And she told me, Alex, nobody is thinking about you as much as you are. They are all worried about their own presentations.
That is surprisingly comforting. It's so true. We all think everyone is watching our mistakes, but they're usually thinking about themselves.
Exactly. It freed me. It allowed me to make mistakes and not feel so embarrassed. It was a huge lesson in perspective, a new way of seeing things.
I had a history teacher who gave me some great career advice, actually. He said, don't just follow your passion, follow your curiosity.
Ooh, what's the difference?
Well, passion feels like this one big, perfect thing you have to find. It's a lot of pressure, but curiosity is lighter. You can be curious about many things. You can explore, learn, and then maybe you find your passion along the way.
That takes the pressure off. I really like that. So, for our listeners, what advice would you give someone starting their career? Would you follow that advice?
I would. My advice is your first job won't be your last job. See it as a learning opportunity, not a final destination.
That's great. And mine is say yes to opportunities, even if they scare you. My first big project at work was terrifying. I didn't think I was ready.
But you did it.
I did it, and I learned so much. That single yes opened so many doors for me. It was a lesson in growth. Personal growth happens when you're uncomfortable.
Okay, let's switch topics. What about friends? Do you have a story about a mistake that taught you something valuable about friendship?
Yeah. In college, my best friend was going through a hard time, and I kept trying to fix his problems. I gave him all this advice, like, you should do this, and you need to do that.
You were trying to help.
I was. But one day, he said to me, Alex, I don't need your advice. I just need you to listen. That was a powerful lesson. Sometimes people don't want solutions. They just want to feel heard.
That's my favorite piece of advice. Listen to understand, don't just listen to reply. It's so important in relationships and friendships too.
It really is. What about advice that seemed wrong at first? Have you ever gotten advice that you thought was just terrible, but it turned out to be brilliant.
Yes. After I finished university, I was so stressed about finding the perfect job, and an older friend told me, take 3 months off. Don't even look for a job. Just travel, be broke, be happy.
And what did you think?
I thought he was crazy. I needed to start my life, make money. But I did it. I traveled with a friend. We had very little money, and it was the best decision I ever made.
Why? What did you learn?
I learned that I was more resilient than I thought. I learned how to solve problems, and I learned that my identity wasn't my job. It was a huge confidence boost. When I came back, I was so much more relaxed and focused.
That's an amazing story. It's the opposite of the usual advice to work hard, start early.
It is. Sometimes the best advice is the advice that goes against what everyone else is saying. What would you do, listeners? Would you follow that advice?
Let's move into a fun hypothetical section. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. If you could give one piece of advice to every single person on Earth, what would it be?
Just one. I think I would say assume the best intentions in others.
Explain that.
I mean, when someone does something that upsets you, your first thought is often negative. They did that to hurt me. But usually people are just focused on their own problems. They aren't trying to be mean. If we assume they have good intentions or are just making a mistake, it leads to more kindness and less anger.
I love that. It would prevent so many arguments. Mine would be, it's never too late to start over.
That's hopeful.
I think so. People feel stuck in a job, a city, a life they don't love, and they think it's too late to change. But it's not. You can always learn a new skill, move to a new place, or become a new version of yourself.
Okay, next question. What is a piece of advice that people always hear but rarely follow?
Oh, that's easy. Get 8 hours of sleep.
Yes, everyone knows it's important, every doctor says it, and yet we stay up late watching one more episode.
Another one is save money for retirement. It's good advice, but it's hard to do when the future feels so far away.
True. Okay, last one. What advice would you give your younger self? Let's say your 20-year-old self.
I would tell him, stop worrying so much what other people think of you. I spent so much energy trying to be cool or smart or funny for others. It was exhausting.
I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah, I'd say just be you. The right people will like you for who you are. What about you?
I would tell my younger self, your metabolism will not always be this fast. Learn how to cook a vegetable.
That's practical advice, but seriously?
Seriously. I would say that feeling of being lost is okay. Everyone feels it. You don't need to have your whole life planned out right now. Just take the next right step.
That's beautiful. So this brings up an interesting idea. Let's have a mini debate. Which is the better teacher? Learning from other people's advice or learning from your own experience?
Ooh, good one. I think I have to say learning from advice. Why make a mistake if you don't have to? If someone who has already made the mistake tells you, don't touch the hot stove, you should probably listen. It saves you pain and time.
I see your point, but I disagree. I think experience is the best teacher. You can hear the advice, don't touch the hot stove, 100 times, but you only truly understand it after you touch it. That pain is a powerful lesson. You will never, ever forget it.
But some mistakes are too big. You can't just learn from experience with everything. You can't learn from experience about jumping out of a plane without a parachute. You have to trust the advice of experts.
Okay, that's an extreme example, but for most life lessons about love, about work, about yourself, you have to live it. You can read 1,000 books about confidence, but you only build confidence by doing scary things. Experience is active, advice is passive.
I think the wise thing is to use both. Learn from the advice of people you trust to avoid big mistakes, but for the smaller things, you need your own experience to truly learn the lesson. It's a balance.
Okay, I agree. A balance is best.
It's smart to learn from others' mistakes, but some things you just have to learn for yourself.
So that leads to our final question for today's reflection. Why do people so often ignore good advice? We know sleep is good. We know saving money is good. Why is it so hard to do?
I think sometimes it's pride. We want to believe that we know best. We want to figure it out on our own. It's hard to admit that someone else might know better.
That's a big one, pride. I also think sometimes we aren't ready to hear the advice. The advice might be right, but we are not in the right place in our lives to accept it.
That makes sense. Like if someone tells you to leave a bad job, but you're too afraid of the uncertainty. The advice is good, but fear stops you from taking it.
Exactly. So maybe the lesson is to be patient with ourselves and with others. Maybe good advice is like a seed. Someone gives it to you, you plant it, and maybe it takes a long time to grow.
I like that metaphor. So, to wrap up, our message today is to stay open minded. Be open to advice from people you trust, but also trust your own experiences. Both have value.
Yes, keep listening, keep learning, and keep growing. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll be diving into some questionable advice.
That's right. We'll be talking about the worst piece of advice we've ever received. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Language Flow. Before the break, we were talking about the best advice we've ever received. But Alex, I have a new question for you. What's the worst piece of advice you've ever been given?